So what's going on, Chance? How you doing, brother?
How's it going, guys? Thank you for having me.
No, man. Thanks for being on the show. So where are you at, man? You're like West Virginia?
Central Virginia. So I'm in Charlottesville.
Oh, Charlottesville. Charlottesville. Yeah, I think I asked you that, and you told me Virginia before, and what the hell?
Well, you told me he was in Charlottesville, and you're like, that's West Virginia, right? And I'm like, no, that's Northwest
I
Virginia.
was thinking Charleston for some reason.
These are two
Yeah.
very different places.
Yeah, well, my cornhole journeys, I used to play professional cornhole, so I traveled the country playing cornhole. And West Virginia was one of our big stops, and it was Charleston because it's college town. And I remember this place called Adelphia Sports Bar, and they had the best damn wings ever. I'm a wing connoisseur, bro. I don't know. I just love wings. Even the pain they put you on like 3 hours after you eat them, especially as hot as I like them. But
I only started liking wings recently.
so, hey, so
Yeah,
of course, man, we got lots to talk about. A lot of stuff to talk about. So we got Chance Davis on this episode of Hammered. Thanks again for being on the show. Thanks for accepting the invite and coming on up. And across the table here is my beautiful and esteemed co-host, Laura May.
Oh, I'm esteemed this week. Thank you.
I read a book. I learned a new word.
Good job. Prefrontal cortex.
The PFC, that's right. So, your Chance, for people that don't know who you are, well, first off, man, you were on this show called Naked and Afraid back in 2017, right?
absolutely. Yeah, I won't forget it. 40 Days in the Jungle was a life-changing experience for sure.
I definitely want to talk about this because I did a lot of reading up on it, and I read article from People Magazine, The New Yorker. I watched a little bit of an episode. I read some IMDb shit. Man, I'm telling you, I even listened to an interview you did with some lady that looked like a Zoom interview or something. And I just want to know,
Yeah,
what's it
a few years
like?
back.
What's it like being naked for the first time in front of all them people? Like, were you nervous just a little bit?
Uh,
All
Not
the
really.
questions you
I
could
pretty,
ask him, and
I
that's
pretty much
the way.
did. I lived pretty wild in my early 20s, so being naked in front of a crowd wasn't foreign at that point. But yeah, just jump right in. I mean, I'm from the canoe in the water. I had to tell the camera lady that the water was cold. I kind of got nervous then, but now the first day it's all food, shelter, water. Everything that's you're worried about with looks or being vulnerable, it kind of goes out the window.
Oh God, you talking about jumping in the water, man? You were in the Amazon, right? Dude, there's all kinds of
Yeah,
crazy shit
Amazon
living in the
jungle.
Amazon, bro. That
Yeah, we had anaconda, uh, man, piranha. It's going naked trying to find your fishing hook when there's piranha that you've just been catching. It's a new level of sphincter factor.
well, not just piranha. There's like little parasites that like swim up your dick hole, bro, and you can. Oh,
So
I,
I
I
think I
mean,
left with
seriously.
4 parasites, and that was just eating too hastily the last few days. We'd caught eel. Giovanna, she call her unagi now, but she stabbed the eel, and we had that for a good meal. You're only supposed to eat the fat, and I ate as much as I could from meat far in the brains, and yeah, I left with about 4 parasites, and that wasn't pleasant. Luckily, Cipro and some bourbon behind it
Oh, I bet
got
you were
rid
a
of
pleasure when you
everything.
got back to the states,
Oh my God, I'm just
loaded
trying
with
to
parasites.
imagine that
Oh,
flight home must have been the
oh,
most uncomfortable of all time.
oh. I,
I was pretty happy at that point, but like being there so long, your mindset shifts. So I was in this predatorial, like every food is mine, and I remember they gave us cameras to record the flight home, and a gentleman behind me was complaining about like a burger that he had gotten,
Oh
and
God,
my 4
not
days
the
ago, I'm eating
burger.
and this guy's complaining about eating a burger, and just you start to react differently.
and
And I think that's honestly because like the lack of fat content for that long. I mean, there's no psychological studies that can put you under that kind of deprivation, but you think about like the myelin sheath that requires a certain amount of fat content. So for a good 2 months coming back, I just felt like I had what I call jungle brain, where cognitive responses are delayed and just normal processes are way more difficult.
I'm going to pause you right there. Jungle brain. Was that an actual like medical term for what you were experiencing when you got back?
No, I went horseback riding with my ranger buddy when we got back, and I went to step over a log, and like my leg wasn't responding. So like that circle of signal to the muscle, everything was delayed.
Wow.
Yeah, let's touch on that. So you were a medic in the Rangers, right?
Yep.
What was the time frame that you did that?
So I jumped out of high school, did a year of college, then joined the military and become a Ranger medic. It's like a 2-year just pipeline of training in schools to get qualified for the position. And I got lucky. I got landed in 3rd Ranger Battalion, which I say is the best. And right into it, I did my first deployment in Iraq. I think I was like 22 at the time. Just got married the week before. So a bit of a life experience, but came back, did another deployment to Afghanistan, and moved on to the civilian world to transition.
Oh, well, I mean, thanks for your service. I'm a vet too. I didn't go the Ranger route. I went quartermaster route, kind of a little different there.
I guess what?
Yeah.
Okay, how do I phrase this? What possessed you to watch Naked Afraid and go, I want to do that?
Well, honestly, to that point, I hadn't watched a lot of the show. I met Matt Wright in Colorado a few months before leaving.
Now, who's Matt Wright?
Matt Wright was one of the guys that was on my challenge for the 40-day, and he's been a complete legend in the show. I think he just did a 60-day challenge recently.
Jeez.
Big hunter, awesome guy, military veteran as well. But he was on the show with me doing the 40-day, and right before I did my 20th day to link up with the group that was doing their 40-day, he was one of them, but had bacteria between his toes. The doctor said if it had gone a day longer, he probably would have died getting in his bloodstream. So, like being out there, it's you're that vulnerable, and it is that real. And just kind of segue into that, but.
Well,
that's gross.
Let's go back to this because I read it and I was like, there's no way I could probably do this, which is why I was a quartermaster and you were a ranger. Okay, because you had just did your 21 days, right? Like your show, it was what, season 3, I believe, of.
So the XL, the 40-day, that was season 3, and the regular Naked and Afraid was season 7, the season finale, episode 11, I believe.
So you did the regular Naked and Afraid. You and I can't remember her name. It escapes my. Yeah. You guys finished together. Y'all lasted the whole damn time. You're like rowing your boat up the Amazon, going back to get retrieved by the Naked and Afraid producers or whatever happens. And then all of a sudden you see these people in a cove that are naked, and you're like, that's not damn Amazon tribes. That's Americans out there. And so I'm pretty sure this was all set up by the producers. They knew what they were doing, and they gave you guys the option. The lady that was with you didn't stay, but you were like, fuck yeah, let's do it. I'm down. What in the hell was going on in your brain when you were like, I want 20 more days or 19 more days?
Jungle brain. He already told you there was like a significant lapse in judgment occurring.
Well, I'm just thinking that they would have put you on TV saying, no, I don't want to do it. And then your Ranger buddies would have been like, fucking pussy.
That's exactly it. I'm proud of myself with going after the biggest challenges growing up, and being a Ranger regiment was just another testament to that. And you represent where you come from. So I didn't want to be on TV backing down from a challenge. That on day 21, I felt good. We started getting a good groove, my partner and I, at that point, and we were hunting well. And day 21, I felt good. Day 26 was a little different.
Is that when you were, because I was reading that when you got down and out, you were losing motivation, you would sit down and you would like read the Ranger Creed, to try and get yourself pumped and
my
to get that
gosh.
motivation going?
It's being a veteran and being from Ranger Regiment, I really pride myself on being amongst the warriors I was, and that drove me to become better. And I want to be a better partner for my 21-day partner. I want to be a better asset for the team that I joined. And it does mess with you a bit, being hungry and sleep deprived, and parasites eating your meals that you're digesting. So on day 26, I was like, man, I just lost my partner. I'm with these new guys. Like, I don't want to seem too aggressive. So it's a dance at that point. And, being hangry, it messes with me a bit. So day 26, like, just starting to process that this was real. Like, if the James Brown song, like, you don't hunt, you don't eat, well, that was the case. And it felt like a cat scratching out of your stomach.
Well, so you joined this group when they were already in like 20 days, right? They had already formed their cliques and knew each other, and then here comes the newbie in. And did you feel like an outsider when you got there? Like, everybody's looking at you like, who's this fucking guy, Did they respect that you had just finished a season and were one of the ultimate finishers of it?
Yeah, you think about most people without coffee and they're grumpy, but joining up with a group that had no background of me, they had all kind of knew each other because they had done the show previously to be asked to do the 40-day challenge. So they were very receptive. Honestly, I was kind of a pushback. I felt like a loner. I just left my partner, and I didn't really know these guys, and so I was a little bit more difficult than maybe I should have been. But looking back, you can just appreciate the lessons that you learn from it.
Yeah, but they love that. They love that drama, and they knew if you didn't come in there and light some fires, that they'd be disappointed with you. All the producers of Naked and Afraid, but props to you. You went and finished that too. Spoiler alert if you haven't watched it. But damn, that's awesome. So any plans for like Naked and Afraid All Stars featuring Chance Davis?
No, going into it, I was getting ready to work at a group home in Southwest Virginia, and I really just wanted to be an inspiration. I was more or less what I was trying to accomplish. Because going back to your question, prior to Naked and Afraid, I didn't really seek them out. I was trying to host a veteran podcast to highlight resources and doing a lot of social media posting, running the woods and climbing and doing Spartan races. And they had found me through that. So I think they wanted to find somebody that was military but crazy enough to do the 20-day and that they knew would stay for the 40-day challenge. So in that sense. But.
Well, I'm kind of jealous because I've always wanted to do reality TV. Like, my thing was I wanted to be on Big Brother. But that was when I was in my 30s. Now I'm in my mid-40s, so I'm like, man, I would be that old guy on the show that they would like keep around because they know I'm weak or something, or
I think you should just do Naked and Afraid.
No,
like, don't
way.
do this Big Brother shit. That's so safe. I read them, or I don't think I read it. I heard like the most ridiculous percentage of Americans think that they can survive 30 days in the wilderness on their own. Like 75% of Americans think they can survive that, and that to me is just baffling for a society that loses their ever-loving shit when there isn't a McDonald's within a mile of them. And these people also think they can survive in the wilderness for 30 days, no assistance. That's baffling to me.
It's humbling, for sure.
More props. Props to you.
A jungle made out of jaguar when I walked in the jungle, and by day 2 I was definitely singing a different tune. Just the first night, covered in ants. Like, my partner laid on top of me just to kind of block some of the area, but those experiences, I call it beautiful suffering, is what we called it in the jungle, but very humbling.
Beautiful sufferings. Wow.
It's very poignant and everything, but better you than me.
I think what I would have struggled with was bugs. You're naked and you've got no bug spray, and bugs are like crawling everywhere on your body, getting an orifice they're not supposed to be.
That's all I'm thinking about are like there are crevices they're getting into. I don't want them getting into.
Oh God! Like, did
Man,
you?
they had bullet ants. So the locals call it a bullet ant because when you get shot, they say it feels the same. But they'll bite your soldier's helmet and
Oh
every
my
crevice.
God!
So what part of your military experience were you able to take into the jungle with you?
Fucking all of it.
Oh, yeah, honestly, just
Yeah.
having the experience of knowing your body will shut down before your mind shuts down before your body. Again, Ranger Regiment, they put you under stress, inoculation, and food deprivation. So those effects had some experience with, but definitely I could see the value in the survival skills. I mean, beyond Boy Scouts and the military. Like Matt Wright, like I said, he was a huge hunter. And so on his first 20 days, managed to shoot a pig, and it makes a difference when you're able to bring that sustenance to the table.
Yeah, it's so on the show, I believe I read in one of the articles, you bring 4 items and the producers pick one of the 4. That's bullshit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I brought 4 knives, so I was pretty confident that one
Oh,
way or the other I'd get a knife.
oh well, yeah. I mean, for sure. Did you kind of like have an insight, or were you just like a knife guy?
Oh, I was too cocky going in. I joked I was going to bring Ranger panties and a 6-pack and fishing line, a knife, and I wasn't even thinking about a bow, but way too cocky going in.
Oh, I don't know. Out of all the reality shows out there, I think that's the one that I would least like to be on.
So were
Yeah.
you afraid, or were you just kind of young and cocky and you're like, this is great? And then at what point was it like, oh no, this sucks and I'm scared?
Oh, young and cocky, but I wouldn't trade that experience for the world. I mean, I thought about it long and hard, like 40 days. It's pretty prophetic, but
Yeah.
I had to realize it wasn't my doing that I finished. I finished with a team. I finished with a partner. I finished with opportunities that nature provided. So it was kind of that holistic experience and getting outside of yourself to realize like your successes aren't just your hands. Like be happy about it, yeah, but I wouldn't like that suffering was horrible, but the lessons from it were priceless.
Chance, you were in the woods naked for over a month. You didn't wear any clothes. Oh my God.
Smallest sport.
I feel like after like maybe a day, you kind of get over that. There are other things to think about other than like, oh shit, I'm naked.
Well, did it get cold at night? I mean,
The temperature change is what really made you feel cold. So it'd be mid 70s and then 50s at night, but you're feeling that 50s. We didn't get fire for the first 3 days, so that you think about your water procurement.
oh,
Um, but once we got the fire, it was a game changer. I mean, like I slept pretty much on the ground. We had our fire dug into the ground. So like as she's sleeping, I would feed the fire at night, but it's keeping the ground warm. So not just laying on sticks that are cold, but having that insulation.
were you the
A
fire
game
guy?
changer.
Were you the one that made the fire?
No, she made the fire. So we
Oh,
had this sap out there, all rolled the incendio, and like pond sap here in the States, but way better. So she had found a bunch of that and made a drying rack and drawn out some of the tinder we were going to use, the small debris to strike the fire with. They gave us a ferro rod and a magnesium block. So when you strike the ferro rod, it obviously makes a sparks, and use magnesium to heat up to a high degree as you're burning the tinder. Long story to say, she got the fire started, but we lost the ferro rod after day 7.
oh,
Oh
So
no.
it's like we got to maintain the fire for the rest of the 21 days. That's in the peak of their rain season. So at one point we're digging a moat, like I'm digging a moat with my knife around the fire. She's like bare chested, obviously, but over top of the fire, trying to keep the water from falling on. It's like the shelter at that point was still needed some work, and yeah, fire's a game changer, but it didn't happen for a while.
oh yeah, that's the big thing in Survivor, man. I mean, that's what you should be on. If you could do Naked and Afraid 2 seasons in a row, you could just kill Survivor, man. It's like they wouldn't invite you on because they know it'd be a no-brainer. Yeah, Ultimate champion Chance Davis on Survivor, right there.
It was a great experience, but you know, I have a son, and my priorities have definitely changed from trying to go out and impress myself. Like I've felt blessed that I was able to accomplish a lot. So
well,
I don't know if I do another challenge on TV.
I see, man. You've been there, done that. Time to move on to bigger and better things. But before we move on from Naked and Afraid, I got 2 more questions. All right, 2 more, and then we're going to leave it alone. Because, I mean, I've never talked to anybody that's been on a reality show before, so it's kind of a big deal here. This is a hammered first.
That's cool.
I mean, so how much behind-the-scenes stuff, how much did the producers set up of the show? Or was this all like... Was everything we saw real? Did the producers have any behind the scenes, like, hey, you need to do this, Chance?
I mean, it's just
did they stick an anaconda on them? Like, what are you asking?
Well, like, do they show all the good stuff, or is there a lot of stuff behind the scenes that we don't see? That I don't know. Do they help y'all out at all?
There's a lot behind the scenes. So you think about like a 1-hour show for 21 days.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot in there that you should be getting. There's a lot of hunting that goes on that, doesn't get put in the show because the drama is what sells. But, I mean, they can't make anything up. So they may ask, like, Chance, how'd you feel that Melissa caught the snake? And then they just hear my rebuttal, and that's what they post in the editing. So it's just the play and wording. But if it happens, it happens. When you see the anaconda slamming in the water, that was real. So the threats, the reality of it was all present.
Damn, did you see an anaconda?
I was going to say, oh my God, did you actually see an anaconda? I was being facetious.
One that made you say, oh shit, I'm done.
Yeah, so we're hunting pig for like 4 days, come up empty-handed, and we're walking back, and I hear this squealing. It sounded like a cat, right? But it was the anaconda grabbing the pig and just squeezing the life out of it, dragging it in the water.
Oh my God.
And it was real. So when they're like, oh, we're going to take your raft and make it into a kickboard, I was like, oh, you say that, but maybe you better go and swim by yourself. I'll just paddle.
Dude, I would have freaked out, man. Anacondas can eat human beings. I've seen videos.
In one swallow. Like, they don't even feel it. They're still hungry after eating a human.
And the Amazon's like one of the most dangerous places on the planet. So the fact that you guys stayed there 20-plus days, 40 days for you, is crazy, man. I kind of think that they went around and cleared out the area of, like, all the day. 'Cause there was a lot of pumas there, right?
Yeah, there's pumas at night stalking, and like that area, it's pretty protected, so they weren't allowed to really make a footprint. But I mean, literally right on the equator. Again, I wouldn't trade that for anything.
Awesome. And like right before you went, you had just met your wife now. Is that right?
Ex-wife, yeah.
Ex-wife.
The show,
Whoops.
and that's the other thing. No. It's good. It's she's an awesome woman. We have a son together, Colt, and but the show it messes with your ability to process rationally. At least that was my experience. And deployments were what they were, and I had my struggles with coming from deployments and switching into a new modality.
Yeah.
And the show was another example of that. And we met right before the show, and that was helpful for me, really getting through that struggle and having like someone that I'm thinking about at night as I'm looking up at the stars, but just a little extra oomph of motivation. And we got back and had my son in love, and so I'm forever grateful for that. But it's I had some things I had to work on, and we're best splitting up and both living in the same town and raising my son together, so it worked out.
Oh, that's cool, man. I'm a divorcee too. I mean, it happens. Sometimes it takes you a while to realize, this isn't the one, and you just move on. And I got a good relationship with my ex. We got 2 kids, so it is what it is. I mean, hell, Fort Carson is what brought us together. I don't know where you've been. So, like, you started out, like we said earlier, Ranger medic. Then you were on Naked and Afraid, and now you're in finances. So what makes a former Ranger, reality TV star, get into finances?
Well, I've always had a heart for helping people. So I grew up in a kind of challenging upbringing, group homes and foster care. So I got the structure and I got the guidance, and I saw the impact that had on my life. So when I went to college, I wanted to become a behavioral psychologist. Then a year later, I shipped off for basic training. So I joined, as a medic, just thinking, I wanted to make an impact positively in whatever was going on. And at that point, it felt like the height of the war was getting ready to kick off. And I just put my head down, and I wanted to be the hardest worker in the room. And found myself in Ranger Regiment. And it's a different culture there. It's very high standards, and every day you got to earn your keep. And I enjoyed that. I enjoyed working and waking up with a purpose. I knew that as a medic, these 40 guys rely on my knowledge, my expertise, my physical abilities, and that drove me to become such a better soldier. And so going into the show, that was my hopes. I was getting ready to start working at that group home that I used to be a young man at. And I wanted to show them that it doesn't matter where you come from, you walk into something with the right mindset and you can get through it. And it was perfect. It was funny. Some of the kids after the episode were like, "Mr. Davis, you get 13 demerits for what you said on the show." But being able to see that light click on for a lot of the boys we worked with, great.
So, and you're doing like some motivational speaking too. So, what are you on, like Tony Robbins level, doing TED Talks and stuff like that?
Not really. More of a reserved guy, so where I can make an impact, I do. But moving into finances, I saw, working overseas, post-military, a lot of my friends were kind of spending out of fear, and I'd done in the fitness industry for a while, just, coaching and personal training. And I kept seeing clients that, their underlying common denominator was fear, and how they were eating, how they were living. And friends in the military that struggled with their vices. It was a lot tied into fear. And so I wanted to have an impact on a larger scale for my son and the community. And I felt like if I could help families improve their finances, restore hope by, looking at their retirement plans and thinking about saving for college for their children, and at that small spectrum, throwing the sand dollar back, I can make an impact and be happy with what I'm doing. It's hard leaving like Ranger Regiment. I feel like a lot of guys struggle with that lack of purpose. But at the end of the day, I can be proud of what I'm doing and make an example for my son, and can't ask for any more.
Oh, man, you can't ask. That's what it is. It's all about your family at the end of the day. I don't know how it is now, but when I got out of the military, there's not a lot of guidance as far as financial planning.
No.
And I've been working for the government for 20 plus years. I got out the military, went straight into government service, and been doing it ever since. And there's not a lot of coaching. There are, but it's not pushed. Like your TSP, like how that works, in detail, describing it to you, what you need to do, what funds you need to put it in, what the G fund does, what the S fund does. Yeah, it's not explained to you. So a lot of guys are going into retirement from the military or separation from the military without knowing the benefits they have as far as these 401ks. So is that sort of kind of what drove you, or are you doing that right now, working with people along those lines?
So a lot of the veterans we're seeing, we get into odd jobs and family crises happen and the emergency savings deplete, and they're living off credit cards, and, they're in debt for this vehicle. So I wanted to help out in whatever way I could. And for a lot of my friends, they were having children, and I had a friend pass away last Easter, and he died, and we hadn't really spoken in a while, and he had a son, and it really struck me, like, if I died today, is my son okay? I know a lot of my friends that are receiving disability income, but like, other than that, what are they leaving behind? Like, what does his son have access to? Is he going to struggle financially? Is he going to struggle with going to college when he wants to when he grows up? And made me take a hard look at, what I'm doing financially for my son. I want to pass on a legacy. I want to pass on generational wealth. I mean, that's better for my community. And that starts, everybody's AMC, Bitcoin, but if you have a child, you need life insurance. And that was a wake up call for me.
Hey, how about those Dogecoins, man? What do you think about those?
I feel like I think it's great. You can get in, and a lot of people are learning about stocks, but it's like going into a fight without a trainer. It's you might do well, but you're gonna pay for it if something goes wrong.
Well, I got 350 Dogecoins. So if that shit turns out the way the Bitcoin did in about 10 years, I'll be riding in my 400-foot yacht.
We all hope that for you.
Absolutely.
We'll be partying. Absolutely. You'll be on the yacht too, Chance.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We were partying on the Naked and Afraid boat when we left on the 40-day. I'll quick a bit about that, but we're like dancing and partying. They had the music on, and then once we got out of the jungle area to like where the civilians were at the resorts, they thought we were crazy. I got peanut butter dripping down my face, and we're all naked.
Yeah, you're a peanut butter guy. I read all about that. Peanut butter, any kind. Yeah. Well, I'm curious now. When did you first put clothes back on?
I had Ranger panties. So by the time we got back to the resort, but my mom was just so focused on peanut butter.
You just were like, I'm naked as fuck. I need peanut butter now.
Well, we've been through this. Like, he was naked for months at this point. There just gets to a point where, like, he's not thinking about it anymore. It's just...
I think they need to rename the show. It's not Naked and Afraid. It's Naked and Starved.
Yeah, well, some people do really well.
Naked and aggravated. That's just how you wake up.
Well, no. Well, I mean, maybe, sort of. I don't know. But no. So I was just curious. Like, now we're back to Naked and Afraid. It's your fault, Chance. You brought it up. So we're back to Naked and Afraid. It's day 40. Boom. What happens? Like, does a producer come up there and say, "This is it. It's done. You guys did it. You survived." And then y'all pop some champagne. They put you in a boat or something, and you ride back.
Yeah, so like I paddled 8 miles up current with my 21-day partner to get to the location where we met the group.
Oh my
God. Then on 39, we paddled almost backwards to get to a location that was going to be going with the current, because we had an 8-mile stretch to get to the extraction point on day 40. So we camp out on day 39. It's the blood moon, so it's like bright red moon. No bugs are biting us, and we had eel, 2 nights before. Just very, like, everything's lining up at that point. And then 8 miles down current the next day, we get picked up by, there was the Ecuadorian Naval Armada. So they come up with this little mini military boat, pick us up in the middle of this opening from the Amazon. And as soon as we got back, robes, and before they do the individual interviews, we have just like a full table spread, chips, Oreos, coffee. So I'm like eating for 30 minutes. And mind you, my stomach's probably the size of my fist, but smaller, probably half size. And I'm on the ground just laying back, dipping my Oreos and coffee and popping them in my mouth. It was like the worst, best pain ever.
The worst, best pain.
Yeah, it's you're satisfying like that mental pain of being hungry, but like it's so filling because your stomach's shrunk at that point.
Oh, I bet you got sick. Did you get sick after eating that?
Oh, not so much that, but when we had dinner, I had a piece of a pizza and a mojito, and I remember waking up at like 2 a.m. and I still had the mojito held in my grasp, just the rest of it. It was you feel worse after, well, from my experience, coming back from that deprivation, having the sustenance, my body almost rebounded in the response.
Oh.
Right. That's like a shock to your system. You spend all this time eating a certain way, not eating a certain way, but it's a lot cleaner too, obviously. And then next thing you're dunking Oreos in a cup of coffee, which, by the way, has set a way better precedent for my breakfast in the morning. So I'm sure your body's like, wait, what the fuck is this? So yeah, I can imagine you go into shock a little bit.
From 185 going in, finished at 140. This is like mid-November.
Wow.
By Christmas, I'm like 210. So I spent almost $15,000 on food the next month just out of like compulsive eating.
Okay, so that brings up another question I have, and it kind of it has to tie in with finances too. So I am curious, what does a participant get paid to be on Naked and Afraid? And is it like a tier system? The longer you last, the more you get paid, or does each participant, I'm sure each participant doesn't get the same thing. Like if you go there on day one and you're like, mosquito bit me, I'm out, I'm done. But if you're like Chance and you last 40 days, it's got to be a lot more.
Going into it, I wasn't really sure. I was just happy about the opportunity. And they put all the disclosures, but at that point I just signed and left as soon as I could. But being out of work, they have to compensate the contestants. So they do like a per diem. I'm not sure if it's the same scale that I was on. They do compensate you for being out of work each day that you're on the show.
No, it's not like Survivor, though. The winner of Survivor gets $1 million.
No. I mean, a lot of the people, they do really well promoting themselves, post the show, and kind of doing follow-on careers, teaching and doing survival training. So there's that aspect to it, but no monetary incentives.
Well, in your experience on Naked and Afraid, did you make any lifelong friends in that experience? Any of those contestants that you're like still in contact with? Yeah.
Like when we finished, we said a family that prays together stays together. So
yeah,
there's a handful from the group challenge that I stay in contact with, and then Melissa and I, we keep in contact from time to time.
Okay, I can only imagine it's kind of like military, and I've spoken about this on the podcast before. I was in Germany for 2 years, and I was in a field artillery unit, and I would say 90% of those people, I remember their face and their names. And I'm still friends with a lot of them on Facebook. My unit at Fort Carson, the cavalry unit, not so much. I only remember a handful. But it's amazing to me the military brothers and sisters I remember compared to people I meet here living regular life in North Carolina. Like, I forget people's names daily.
In a group situation where you're all just kind of face to face with your own mortalities, I feel like there is kind of a binding that happens. There's definitely, a very profound sense of camaraderie that comes with that, when you're looking at this group of people and you're like, we could all fall over dead any minute for any reason. I feel like that does kind of bring you together just a little bit. Yeah. I wouldn't know. I have never been in that situation.
I agree,
except for my entire career in retail. So
I mean, well, you have to bond with your coworkers.
Absolutely.
Because y'all sell together.
And
right? Yeah.
we fight off dangerous customers every single day. Life and death situations, man.
You never know, man. This world's crazy nowadays.
Optical retail.
Yeah. Do you see yourself doing finances for the rest of your life here? Or is this something that you are like all in on?
I just saw the need within like the veteran space. Like you said, I got back from a deployment and then I was out of the Army the next month. So there was no financial conversations. So I want to be a resource to my peer group now that are having families and thinking about retirement. But I wanted to pass on the skills to my son that were relevant. So financial literacy and interpersonal skills. And I definitely see myself in financial planning for a while. My end state goal would be able to start a hog operation, raising a heritage hog here in Virginia. So that's kind of a 10-year goal.
Yeah. And so you're based in Virginia. Are you seeing clients in North Carolina, or like what's your scope?
Yeah, so I started earlier in the year, but Northwestern Mutual is a large company, so I'm able to gain the resources from all over the state and reach clients all over as well.
Okay. Oh yeah, and I've got your information scrolling across the screen, so you got like it.
How long have you guys been running the podcast now?
Oh man, so Hammered has been going for over a year now. Laura has been the co-host for what?
A few months at this point,
Yeah,
consistently. You know, I
10 plus episodes, I
was
think.
here, you know, when you first kind of started it, but more so as a guest at that point.
Yeah.
And then you really started going at this hard. Probably around this past August, September, you were like, you know, I really want to get back into that. You know, summer was over. You know, we needed more indoor activities. So you're like, let's hop back on the podcast. And you've done a lot with it since then.
Yeah, man. You know,
you scooped up a great co-host.
I did. I mean, I did, right? And she's not humble at all, Chance. Not humble at all.
Well, if you don't mind me asking, what was your inspiration for starting the podcast?
Well, if I'm going to be completely honest, man, it was boredom. You know, I wanted something to do during the pandemic. I mean, I've got this group, all right? It's on Facebook. I got like 20 plus groups. It's called ATB, stands for All the Best. This group I started back in 2017 because I had a very pitiful dating situation going. You know, I've been single for like 5 years, so I decided that I was going to make a group on Facebook for singles where we could all meet and hang out and make events. And that took off like a rocket. And 3 years later, in the ATB groups, you know, like I said, I have 20 different groups with probably a cumulative of 10,000 plus members. So I took that and was like, hey, you know, I like this podcasting gig. So I bought some equipment, started out small. I mean, don't go back and watch episode 2, 3, 4, 5. It looks bad.
It's a process.
I mean, it looks bad, but content-wise, pretty fucking hilarious.
Yeah, so, you know, I'm stupid, so it makes for good entertainment sometimes.
No, I've enjoyed chatting with you guys. This has been fun.
Oh, we're not even halfway done yet. We got something called Hammered Trivia coming up. I hope you're ready for it.
Hang in there, Chance.
Yeah,
I'm ready.
But and I've made some great contacts doing this, man. I've met some people. I've networked a lot. And the reason why I found you, I really don't tell this on the air about how I get my people, but like, you know, I know Eric Tansey and the Drinking Brothers Tailgate Legends podcast, which we were on, 2 nights ago, to air tomorrow, actually. So make sure you check that out. And I saw a picture you took with them at Instill Distillery, you know, great rum, by the way. I'll give Eric a plug there. There you go, Eric.
He's almost switched from being a whiskey man.
Oh, you're a whiskey guy?
I was, but I've been sipping his rum for quite a while now. It's smooth, and you don't need a lot. You know, we went to the police academy together, and been friends ever since. And I mean, just a leader in his community, but like starting that distillery, just spoke to his drive and being a veteran that, I mean, he dedicates a lot of nights for where veterans can have a safe space to kind of hang out and not feel outcasted. Just great guy, great rum.
Oh, yeah. I went there for a Jeep event a couple of weeks ago and had like 3 or 4 drinks. I was like, whoa, I got to stop. Yep, good. But I saw a picture you took with them, and Eric wrote, like, from Naked and Afraid, Chance Davis. So I was like, whoa, this dude was on Naked and Afraid? Okay, let me send him a message. You know, and yeah, that's how you get guests sometimes, man, and you meet some great people out there.
Well, Chance, you had mentioned earlier that you had either entertained or like you had dabbled in podcasting as well, kind of a resource for veterans transitioning back into civilian life. Is that still a thing? Where did that go?
So after the show, I just wanted to refocus. My priorities were, you know, with the boys at the boys' home and just being a resource there. I have a friend, so through the financial planning, I reached out to and we've reconnected. We went to basic training together, and he's starting a podcast called Good Deeds to highlight just community leaders that are doing good deeds. So I don't know if I'm ready to step back into the space of being on camera, but I enjoy the transparent aspect of it. Just highlighting great stories, showing a face to a name and a personality being transparent in that process. So maybe one day, but
also providing pretty important information, when I'm not a veteran. That's a language I do not speak. I don't know anything about the military lifestyle or, transitioning in and out of, that lifestyle. So when I'm hearing how few resources there are for our veterans, leaving the military and transitioning back into civilian life, and my kids said there's so many resources available to them. There's so many benefits available to them. Nobody's guiding them on how to utilize these profits. So I'm thinking that's something for you. You're obviously such a humanitarian spirit. You want to do good in the world, and podcasting, you've already got like a great platform to build on that, which is great. So I see that for you. I like it for you.
Thank you. Now, I've reached out to some veteran organizations to do some speaking in the next few months, and probably more so just at that scale. But there are a tremendous amount of folks, I mean, just in the North Carolina, Virginia area that I know of that are doing great work. The science of psychology and being a resource, it's transitioning. And now I feel like the VA is starting to understand the need. And you'll have a better community if you take these soldiers, airmen, Marines, and you give them the guidance and give them the skills to properly transition. Communities are going to flourish. They're hardworking. They needed help. In my case, I just needed guidance after that experience, especially in combat. But it's a lot better than it was 10 years ago. So I feel like the more that we have resources like podcasts and radio shows that are able to highlight on a large scale, it's going to be great.
Okay, cool. Sorry, I wasn't sure if I was supposed to pause you or not. Our host had to excuse himself, but I hope all of that was captured because it was fantastic content.
No, it was great. I'm sorry, man. I swear those 2 Bud Lights kicked in and I had to run. Laura was on a roll. You were on a roll. I was like, I got at least 2 minutes here.
Okay, good. Well, I heard you at one point say stop talking, and I'm like, no,
I was
so
like, keep
good.
going,
I
keep going.
thought I heard you say stop talking, and I'm like, no, I can't. Like, this is so great.
No, I heard no talking, and I forgot I can't hear Chance because I don't have the headsets on.
Oh,
so he was talking, and I was like, yeah, I know, right.
Let's talk about your prefrontal cortex, then.
It took a break.
Clearly. So kind of going back to our conversation we were having, and the resources and the guidance, sure, it's better now. And, we're talking about the military specifically at this point, but you also kept mentioning how important it was to you that your son kind of have that groundwork paved for him too, having that financial literacy and that understanding. That is something that is flat out not provided in public school systems. I was not taught what a credit score is. I wasn't taught planning for retirement or investing in I don't know, stocks or whatever. Like that was just not a conversation that was had when I was a kid. So I just think that's so awesome that you're providing that footprint for your child, who can go on and hopefully in turn educate more children who just are not provided this information.
That's what we learned in the military. See one, do one, teach one.
Exactly. The end. It's that simple. So, quick question for you, kind of off topic. Are you an Aquarius?
Sagittarius.
Oh, God damn it. And that was seriously my first guess. So serious. So when he's talking about like, I gotta jump into this cool adventurous TV show, nothing can stop me, I'm like, oh my God, he's such a Sagittarius. But then he started getting into like, he's got to save the world, he's got to do better, he's got to make the world a better place, and I'm like, I'm sensing a ton of Aquarius here. So I should have just gone with my my gut instinct.
Should have went with your gut, because he
might be an Aquarius moon. That's a very
December, baby.
Have you ever had your natal chart done?
I have not.
Oh, okay. I can do that for you.
Uh-oh, here we go.
I mean,
Okay,
I'm not going to do it right now.
What?
I'm just saying, like,
It's her thing. Every guest she asks what their sign is, and then she like breaks it down. Like before I met her, I had no. I just thought there was a zodiac sign. Like I'm a Scorpio. I didn't know I was a Scorpio with water or fire or whatever. I don't.
Scorpio is a water sign.
Yeah, I didn't know that was a thing.
Scorpio with water. What is that? A
makes
drink?
a Scorpio a water sign? What's water got to do with anything here? Last time Scorpions are like in the desert and shit, and last time I checked, there's no water in the desert.
Aquarius is the literal water bearer, and they're an air sign. I don't make the rules. It is what it is.
You know what? Speaking of rules, Chance, are you ready?
Oh no.
Are you ready for it? So, what happens now on the show? We have a little game we play. It's called Hammered Trivia. All right. So each guest that comes on the show is going to go up against the lovely, the beautiful Laura May in a 6-question quiz.
It just so happens I'm kind of smart too. That's why,
Well, we're going to see how smart you are today because
Oh
today's
my God.
quiz is on survival.
Oh, okay. I feel like I have a chance here. I was going to be so.
But there's a
positive you were,
catch.
like, money.
There's a catch. So Chance is going to have to answer questions that have to do with makeup. And you are going to have to answer questions that have to do with survival, like actual survival.
Oh, this is new.
Yeah, this is new.
Oh, he really shook it up on us.
I did. I didn't think it would be fair to ask Chance, like, survival questions.
Okay, well, you make it a point to, like, give me the handicap on these questions, so I appreciate this.
Yeah, so you're going to start off first. There's 6 questions, 3 apiece. Whoever answers the most gets the coveted, show it, Laura, to the camera, the Hammered Trophy. Boom! Yes, there it is. All right. If you win, I'll give it to you next week when we meet up. But yeah.
All right.
We deliver.
Okay, here we go. Question number 1. Chance, are you ready? What does highlighter do? Does it A?
Ooh.
Actually, you get extra credit if you could just tell me right now. Okay, so we'll give you the options. Does it A, widen your eyes? Does it B, brighten your complexion? C, makes your eyebrows look curvier? Or D, just goes on your lips?
Makes you look brighter. Highlight.
Brightens your complexion is correct. Chance has 1 point.
That
Chance
trophy.
is on the board. Laura is over there laughing. Is this one that you knew? Yeah, of course, right? Okay. You're laughing now. Let's see if you're laughing after this one.
I feel good.
We're going to bring you back to earth here, Laura May. All right, question number 2 for Laura. Why should you melt snow or ice before drinking it? A, to purify it. B, to avoid cutting your mouth. C, to avoid dehydration. Or D, to avoid brain freeze.
To avoid dehydration.
Oh my God, she got it right. D, bam! Eating frozen snow and ice will reduce your core body temperature and can lead to dehydration.
So
Good job.
I knew that, but I wasn't sure like if it was like a hypothermia thing. I mean, I knew it was going to drop your core body temperature, but I didn't realize that directly correlated to dehydration.
Well, it does. You got it right. Congratulations.
Okay, well, great.
All right. Chance, you ready? Here we go. Question number 3. What language is the word rouge from? Is it Spanish, Italian? Oh, pardon me. Excuse me. That was Bud Light. Sorry. Portuguese or French?
French.
Damn, that's good. 2-1. Chances up. That is a very French word. Moulin Rouge.
Okay, but can you tell me?
What?
Can you tell me what
color
rouge is?
Nope. Will not. If you don't know, then that's tough
For
shit.
extra
Google
credit,
it.
Chance. What color is rouge?
Dark maroon. Dark maroon.
It's red.
Yeah, close enough.
It's French for red.
Yeah. Good for you, Laura. You get nothing for that. Anyway, here we go. Laura, how long can a healthy human go without food as long as they have water? I bet Chance knows this. Is it 8 weeks, 4 weeks, 7 days, or 3 days?
I'm going to go 8 weeks.
Oh, my God. Was that a lucky guess?
No.
Well, it's 8 weeks. It is tied 2-2.
I was kind of torn between 4 weeks and 8 weeks, but yeah.
Well, it says a healthy person, properly hydrated, can last up to 8 weeks without food. This is not to say that they will be able to operate as they normally would with food. The starvation process will leave you without energy and unable to perform basic survival tasks. Did you ever reach that point in the jungle, Chance?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
With the parasites, when you're eating, I mean, you're eating for two, it feels like. So, like I said, your stomach feels like a cat's crawling out. And you're still hungry, but that pain is like mental anguish along with the physical.
Oh, God. So the parasites, when they were in there, how did you get them out when you got back to the States? Did they give you, like, medicine?
Cipro. So I just went to the local pharmacy when we were flying back, and Cipro.
Oh, yeah? Okay. Maybe
Yikes.
they need to, like, sell them parasites as a diet supplement.
And just go on the show.
Oh, my God. That's not how that works.
I mean, Chance said he went from 185 to 140.
Okay, not because of the parasites solely.
Well,
I mean, right?
you froze him. Look. Oh, there he is.
Mostly from just the length of being out there, but yeah, the parasites didn't help towards the end. It's like the muscle starting to erode at that point.
Yeah, parasites, man. Ooh. All right, so we are tied up. We got Chance with 2. We got Laura with 2. Okay, so now we are going to Chance. Oh, this is a tough one. What's the name of the person who founded Max Factor? Is it Max Factor, John D. Berg, Louis Brel, or Cecilia Jeffries? C. That would be Louis Brel. That is wrong. Oh, no,
I like
Chance.
this strategy, though. Like, when in doubt, just choose C.
Just choose C. But on this question, I should say, Max Factor was the actual answer. It was Max Factor. Yeah.
I'm just going to throw it out there, Chance. I didn't know that either. I don't even know what that is.
That's a tough one. But you know what?
Good one.
This is for the win, Laura. You get this question right here, and you win the coveted Hammer Trophy. Again, this will be like 2 in a month.
Wow, 2 in a row, first of all.
What? Okay,
Yeah.
I got to go back and watch the film on that. I don't know if that's true. All right, anyway, here we go, Laura. All right. On average, how many days can you survive without water? Is it A1, B7, C5, or D3?
3.
Damn! You know a lot about survival.
That
That
I
is
do.
correct. The human body begins severe dehydration that leads to death in 3 days.
Woo!
man.
Bringing one home.
Oh, I can't believe it, man.
So this tells me that I could definitely survive in the woods unattended for 30 days.
All right, I think you need to sign up. Hey, you got some hookups over there, Chance, that can get her on that show?
Don't hook me up.
Absolutely.
No.
Absolutely.
I think you need to like send her information over there. But so hey man, when's the next time you're going to be around here? I know you're going to be around next week, right?
Coming down for the Jeep Bash, most likely this weekend. Got some buddies down in Fayetteville with Cracking Skulls. They're putting on a big event. He's a huge military supporter down in Bennetville, South Carolina this weekend. But hopefully again soon. Came down this past weekend. I have a friend, Rick Murillo in Fayetteville. He does park memorial dedications all over the country for veterans and soldiers and Marines and sailors that take their lives. So a lot of good friends in that area, and definitely got to get back for some more Instill rum.
Oh yeah, definitely. So have you got a Jeep? Or are you just coming to that Jeep rally?
Oh, just coming to it. He's got a whole event lined up with ATVs and dirt races with like modified cars and just band, a whole weekend event. So they'll be camping out pretty much Friday and Saturday.
Oh, and this is in Fayetteville.
This is in Bennetville, South Carolina, but his
Bennetville.
operation, Kraken Skull, is in Fayetteville.
Oh, gotcha. Man, so you're always traveling then. I mean, you're always on the road.
No, we can.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, how's life in Charlottesville? You like it there, or?
It's good. It's I'd say it's God's country. It's wine and great views, and the people here are super friendly. I find Virginia to be like the best state, kind of biased, but I love it.
So, are you from like Virginia? What part? Did you grow up in Charlottesville?
I grew up in Richmond, and it's a bit bigger of a city than Charlottesville, but still pretty close by. It's about an hour away.
No, yeah, I'm familiar. I went to school at VCU. I grew up in like Doswell. So yeah, I'm very familiar. I worked in Charlottesville for about 3 months with my first major fashion retailer I was working for. And that was cool. You know, UVA is a beautiful campus. I thought it was really cute. Charlottesville is quaint. I did enjoy it. Of course, I was there in the dead of winter. And believe it or not, winter gets pretty brutal in northwestern Virginia. So I hated every second of that. But yeah, Charlottesville's very cute. This one hasn't been to Richmond yet, so I want to take him around and show him around.
We just went to Richmond. Literally, we just drove through Richmond last Friday.
We went to my parents' house in Caroline County. We were not in Richmond.
No, I thought we went through downtown. I remember you showed me VCU on the building, and you were like, "What's that building?" It was like a bad part of
yeah,
Richmond.
we had to get off of 95 at one point, but no, I didn't take you to Maymont Park. You didn't see the Jefferson. Like, I didn't take you to the Virginia Museum of Fine Arts. I didn't take you to Sticky Rice. Like, there's still so much we have to do.
Well, I mean, if Chance comes here, I'm not going to take him to Hillsborough Street down in the ghetto and shit. I mean,
but there's some delicious fucking restaurants on Hillsborough Street, so why wouldn't you?
All right. Well, I guess. I mean, wait, what restaurant?
On Hillsborough?
Now what's up? You can't come up with anything.
Juju Coffee.
That's not a restaurant. Do you think a coffee shop is a restaurant, Chance?
No, definitely not.
Definitely not. See? Thank
Okay,
you.
well, as someone who survives solely on coffee for most of her day, that's a restaurant to me.
Hey, Chance, let's talk about the military, man. Hey, so I like talking, old shop with some of the guys. I don't know. I'm a little older than you, so I served from like 96 to 2001. I got out right before 9/11. Now, our MREs back then, man, they were pretty brutal. They were rough. We had this cookie called the cow. We used to call it the trackpad. It was like chocolate with I don't even know what the center of it was, like peanut butter maybe. But I don't know. Like, what was your favorite MRE when you were in?
Veggie omelet. Like in Ranger School, so I went to Ranger School before going to regiment, and I went crazy with veggie omelet because I felt so full after I ate that one. It was the grossest. If you think about like a processed egg component with fake peppers or whatever mashed into a bag, that's the veggie omelet.
That's a new one. Definitely didn't have that one, man, when I was in. Oh, yeah.
We got pretty creative around my era. Like, I got in 2007, deployed in 2009 and 2011.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure the fanciest MRE we had back in my day was, I think the steak one had just come out. It was like a steak with an onion one or something. Yeah. I used to live on the tuna. What was it? The tuna with the rice, then you dump the cheese sauce in it. Oh, my God, that was better than going to Angus Barn. That shit was great.
Yeah, in the jungle, we had a lot of sardines, so I don't know if I could go back to, like, tuna for a while.
How does piranha taste? Can you compare that to any other type of fish? Yeah?
So pretty much everything in the jungle had teeth, right? So all the fish were super meaty, and the meat was delicious. But when I was catching the piranha, like I used my partner's fishing line and hook, and I got it stuck in the middle of the river. So I had to go fish for it because I don't want to come back, empty-handed. And swimming down for it, that was the worst. But and we had that meal. I mean, just the most fluffy meat, just super tender.
Oh wow! Did you get bitten by a piranha while you were out there?
No. They luckily, like, as soon as I would throw the chunk of meat, so I stabbed the fish, cut them up in the pieces, put them on a hook, and as soon as I would drop it in the water, you'd see the bubbles start hitting. So I lost one hook. We had three to start with. As soon as they bite down the line, like, you really have to snag. But I ended up getting six, and
Damn.
yeah, no bites.
Good for you.
That's crazy. That's good. That's lots of protein, man.
Glad you got out of there.
Yeah, it was that full belly of piranha is what convinced you to go do that other 21 days.
Yeah,
I'm good.
Once we stopped, it was a lot of bickering in the beginning with my 21-day partner, Melissa, but when we got in the groove and started to understand the dynamic, it was a good relationship.
Awesome. Yeah.
I don't know. I'd rather get thrown in the jungle for 40 days than, like, raise a child. Just thinking in terms of, like, scary things.
I mean, I don't know. I'd rather get thrown in the jungle than have 3 cats.
Three cats is the jungle.
She's got 3 cats.
How do you think I know so much about survival?
All right, man. Hey, Chance, so if anybody's interested in your financial services, man, how can they get in touch with you? I think I already, it's been scrolling across the screen the whole time, but go ahead, man. Plug yourself.
Chance Davis at chancedavis.nm.com. It's my website, and I'd love to be a resource for anyone out there, and appreciate you guys for having me on, and little shout out.
Word, yeah, man, yeah. And if anybody wants to catch you on Naked and Afraid, can they go and check out your old episodes?
Absolutely.
Where would they find those at?
XL was season 3, and then all through Discovery, and then season 7, episode 11, I believe. It's been a while.
Yeah. I know you're probably trying to get past all this Naked and Afraid for fame, but, I guess.
It was a good accomplishment, but.
Yeah. Well, man, hey, look, thanks for being on the show, and thanks for being a good sport with me and Laura,
Mostly with you.
She's the winner today.
I'm a pleasure.
Anyway, well, thanks.
Anyway.
All right, so look, this has been another episode of Hammered. Thanks to our guest Chance Davis for being here. Thanks Laura May for being here once again. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, I'm your host Mike, and we will see you next time on another episode of Hammered. Peace.
Bye.
Bye.
Peace.